Hello everybody, we have officially made it to the year 2025. Woo, yeah, let's go! Well, maybe not let's go, because this year might be disastrous, but it depends on what the hell happens. But enough of that, let's talk about the previous year, since it's the first day of this new year. Hopefully this year will be good. Maybe it won't. I really hope some political things don't happen that'll make this year bad, but hey, world may never know. Anyway, all I can do is work towards a better future. And last year was definitely a year of ups and downs for me personally, but this channel definitely did grow, though I did have a little bit of little minor controversy since I'm a minor channel. And I thought, like, hey, you know what would be fun? Well, if I did a year-end recap on some of the things I've watched and played, though mostly watched, since I just mostly played Sonic games in order, then maybe I'll do more game reviews this year. We will see. Probably will. Anyway. So I got a bunch of unique rewards, like best of, worst of, and everything in between. So let's go recap of the best things I've seen and reviewed this year. I'm talking about things I've actually had reviewed on the channel, not things I saw about myself. There's some crappy things I saw and good things I've seen. But I watch the same movies every year, so I'm not going to say the best film's The Incredibles every year, because definitely that would be. No, everything I reviewed is what I'm talking about. And I try to add, if it's the best movie, I also included the movie from that was released this year, and also one that I reviewed this year. So just to even it out a little bit. Alright, with that said, let's get into one of the many kooky categories I've gotten. Starting with Best Halloween. The Best Halloween's going to be a tie for me. The classic Nightmare on Elm Street, which I've seen multiple times that I reviewed for the series along with the rest of the films. It's a classic. And the other film that gets the Best Halloween of this year is the zombie classic 28 Days Later, this being the first time I watched it, and I have no idea why it took me so long to watch it, because the film is fantastic, and apparently its official sequel is coming out pretty soon, so I can't wait for that. Hopefully it'll be good. I know they made it 28 weeks later, I think, but it has really nothing to do with the original film. Anyway, those are the two best Halloween films I saw this year. I saw plenty of good stuff, but also saw plenty of crappy ones. So, for the worst Halloween movie, it easily goes to Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, which is the only movie I rated a 1 star in the horror movie ranking. I believe so. Either way, it sucked, and you can go see my reviews and other reviews to see more of my opinion. It doesn't change much in the 2 months since I last saw it. Apparently its sequel's way better, but this film, it's just schlock, and it's just not fun to watch at all. Here's a weird category for you. This is the most overhated movie. This is the movie I reviewed that I think gets hate for basically no reason. That goes to Turbo, which is generic, but it's not really hateable. I enjoy it okay. It's not great, but it's not the worst thing ever. It's not the worst DreamWorks movie. That's kind of a bold statement. That's way worse than Turbo. If you say Turbo's the worst movie, like, are you kidding me? You've seen Shark Tale, right? And the fucking Spirit Untamed, which you might see later in this video. Anyway, Turbo is overhated, and I just want to say that I don't really get the hate. Next up is the most overhated game. Not overhated game. Oh, yeah, it is overhated game for me. And that game is actually a tie to Sonic games, as you know, I mostly talk about Sonic games. One of them being Sonic Labyrinth, which is a game people say they don't like, even though I don't think they even played it or even really give it a try. Because the game isn't bad. I went through this more in my review of it, but it's a pretty basic puzzle game where you use spin dash mechanics over just walking. And it's kind of fun. It's nothing too special, but I enjoy it more than a lot of the other Sonic Game Gear games. And the fact that a lot of people say, oh, this game sucks, kind of bothers me. The other one's a little bit more controversial for me to say that, and that game is Sonic 06, which is a game that gets a lot of hate from pretty much everybody. However, it's a game that I think, despite its flaws, is actually pretty fun and decent overall. It has some pretty glaring flaws, but the overall product I think is okay. I have fun with it, that's all I can say. And I don't have any nostalgia for this game either. I just think it's a fine game. It has a lot of glaring issues, story is a little messy, the graphics are a little janky and don't really hold up, and there's some pretty bad glitches. But if you get used to the physics and stuff and play it all the way through, I think you're going to find yourself having an okay time at worst. Maybe you'll have a bad time, but it's really not that bad. And I will defend it, alright? Sonic PO6 is better, but the base game isn't bad either. Alright, for the most underrated movie, I'm actually going for one that you might not have expected, which is The Penguins... Why did I play Mike Melissa in my clip? Anyway, the most underrated movie is The Penguins of Madagascar movie from 2014. It's a film that I always have a blast watching. It's not the highest film, but it's funny, it's well animated, and it's very concise, which is what you want from an anime movie. It doesn't really do anything that deep, really. It doesn't even try to, but it's a really fun movie. It's definitely one of the best Madagascar movies with the second one. 1 and 3 suck, but Penguins of Madagascar is a pretty good movie, and I recommend you watching if you're interested in anything similar to that. If you're not, then maybe you won't like it, but it's underrated, alright? Go watch it! For most overrated movie, I went to Jurassic Park, Well, I think I like this movie more now that I reviewed it. There's other films I feel like fit this category better that I've seen, but those are in other categories, so this one pretty much just fits by default. I think it's an okay movie, but one of the best of all time? No, it doesn't age that well in the effects category. Some effects are done better than others, but a lot of the CGI looks like shit, and the animatronics are good. The science is behind it doesn't really work, and there's some pacing issues. But overall, it's not a bad film. I just don't think it's one of the best films ever made. It just has flaws that I just can't get over. If you think it's one of the greatest, then that's good on you. And maybe I can see a little bit where you're coming from. But for me, it's alright. For the worst remake, I gave it to the Mean Girls movie. Which, you remember that movie actually came out this year? I wasn't even gonna do this as a category, so I think it's a review that I did that was of a remake, but this movie is fucking bad, and doesn't really fit in any other category, so yeah, it gets worst remake by easy. The most disappointed I was after watching the film was easily Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which came out this year. This film I was really hyped for since I saw the previous 3 films in the trilogy, and those were amazing films. Dawn is the best, by the way. That is so good. Then you see this movie, and it's just, It has the good effects of the last movies, but the storyline and characters are incredibly weak and kind of boring. It seemed to go setting up stuff, but didn't really give that great of a setup to begin with. And overall, we get so little of it, it just wasn't very good. My review isn't the best of it, but I still think this film was a big disappointment, and I was surprised actually other people seem to like it, because it does not. If you watch those previous 3 films next to this one stands out like a sore thumb. But oh well. The strangest response I've gotten from a video is gotta be Ruby Gillman Teenage Kraken, which is a movie that isn't very good. I saw it, in theaters, believe it or not, and I thought, this is okay, and I saw it a second time, this isn't very good. So I made a review, and most people seem to like it and agree with it, but 2 people had such strong responses that I was like, people actually think Ruby Gillman's good? Well, 2 people think they're good. One person commented, watch my Ruby Gillman animation video, which led to another video I had to make, because, this person sent me this video, I'm gonna watch it, and I reviewed it, because they sent it to me for a reason. So I gotta review it. That video was bizarre. And then that person has been spamming me still this day, and even though I'm pretty sure I blocked them, about, are you a Ruby Gillman opinion basher? What the fuck are you talking about? I just made a review of Ruby Gillman once, and did a response video because a person sent me a video just because I thought it'd be funny to review it. Why the hell does anyone care about Ruby Gillman this much? I bet some of you remember that Ruby Gillman even came out. That's how forgettable of a movie it is. Come on. The next one is a very interesting category. This is the weirdest timestamp, which goes to Rockadoodle. So YouTube decided to auto-generate timestamps for this video for some reason, and the timestamp names are so funny. One of them is PTSD flashback, and another one is just furry. Just go to the video and look at the timestamps. I didn't make them, but I'm keeping them because they're so funny. So I had to make that a category. Funniest timestamps at Rockadoodle. Also, the review I think is pretty funny. I like it. I think it's one of the better reviews. This next category, called You Forgot This, goes to 2 movies, both of them being DreamWorks. The first one is Abominable, which no one saw the review of, because no one saw the film or even know what the fuck I was talking about in the movie. Yeah, Abominable is this Chinese propaganda movie, I guess. Not really. DreamWorks was making hey, let's market this, and they got banned in different countries. Apparently, you think it'd be a bigger deal, but nobody seems to care about this movie except for me, I guess. Even though then I don't really care about it. Oh well, you forgot about it too just now. The other movie that gets this category is one that came out this year, Orion in the Dark. This movie, not being bad, is incredibly forgettable. I think the ending kind of sucked for me, and I was it took away from what could have been a more memorable film. It's not bad, but I heard nobody talked about this movie when it came out at the beginning of this year, and nobody's talked about it since. And yeah, because of that, I had to give it the You Forgot This award, since it's already been forgotten in less than a year. The worst casting for a movie goes to the movie Home, which has 2 of the worst voice casts for a movie. Sheldon Cooper as an alien isn't very good, but I guess it's tolerable after a while. But the worst one has to go to Rihanna playing a little girl, because she sounds nothing like a little girl. It's not a good movie at all, and that casting is easily what takes it overboard, and I had to mention it just because it's so bad voice acting that I had to put it in this video, just for guys to remind how bad it is. So, most controversial is movies that people just didn't like that I reviewed, and one of them was Godzilla King of the Monsters. I was trying to do the MonsterVerse movies before the new one came out, but I didn't even end up doing it because MonsterVerse fans just think everything that they do is just gold and nothing's bad about it. But as someone who's seen other Godzilla movies that isn't MonsterVerse, they are just not good. They have terrible human characters, really bad pacing, really bad scripts. Just nothing about them is fun. Like, I want to see giant monsters, but I get very little of that, and it's very pandering to I guess a Transformers audience. Not people who like Transformers, but people who like Michael Bay Transformers, what I'm trying to say. You know, the Michael Bay Transformers audience, not the actual Transformers audience. You know what I'm trying to say. I don't know the fuck I'm going to rant about. Either way, I just didn't find them very entertaining, and I feel like they could have been a lot better, since I've seen other the Godzilla movies that are a lot better. And I'm not talking about -1, which I actually haven't seen, but I'm talking about the older ones that are actually pretty decent, and these films are just kind of eh. And I just don't think they're that great, and the fact that people defend them like their own little child, then I think you're weird. The other movie being Dinosaur, which is a movie that I didn't think anybody cared about. I thought it was a forgotten Disney movie, and I thought, okay, I'll say how the animation's ugly, because it really is really ugly to look at. Not that the movie's bad, I actually don't think it's bad, but apparently people love this movie. I'm so shocked that I got so much hate for it, seeing as there's a famous YouTuber reviewer who says it's the worst Disney movie. I don't think it's bad, like anywhere near that bad. I don't think it's good, but honestly, just looking at this movie, like, you people can defend the animation here. This didn't look good even in 2000. It just does. I mean, I know it's like, oh, advancing the technology, but that's not a good excuse. Polar Express doesn't look good. That was trying to advance technology. It's something that you can't just use as an excuse. They knew it looked bad. They put it out anyway because it was costly, and it looks like shit even to this day. So fuck you. And I guess you had to look at the fucking monkey for that long. For worst effects, we got 3 tier. One is Garfield the movie from 2004, which is the movie I saw as a kid. It has horrible effects. Just look at Garfield there. Even his terrible pixelation looks like shit. How about some practical effects? Well, that easily goes to The Amazing Colossal Man, which I saw during my Halloween marathon. This thing looks terrible. And the effect of him falling has gotta be the worst thing I've seen so far. Look at how bad that is. So bad. And the last one on this worst effects list is going to be the Casper Christmas special, because look at these human designs and tell me they don't look like they came out of hell. For best effects, I have another horror movie, that being The Fly, because of all the ones I've seen, this is the only one that I feel like deserves it, because it is so good looking. The effects are fantastic. So of course I gotta say, best effects goes to The Fly. Also, another movie for animation. There are a lot of anime movies that should get the Best Animation Award, but I'm not giving it to Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, because it is one of the most breathtaking films I ever saw in my life. Even there are some really good Disney anime movies, I couldn't decide which one I liked the best, and this one, that I just think looks the greatest. Like, this movie looks breathtaking, and I love it, and you're going to see it again, because this movie is so good. For the worst music category, I gave it to Tarzan. Not that Tarzan has the worst songs ever, but I don't like a single song in the movie, which is a lot, and since there's a lot of them, yeah, I don't like Phil Collins. I know some people say, oh, this is the best, I love it, but I am not one of those people. I think Phil Collins sucks, and the concept of the music in the movie just does nothing for me. So yeah, that's why Tarzan gets worst music, even though it's not a bad film at all, just the music sucks. On the other side, we get The Little Mermaid, which has the best music, tied with another Disney film. That movie being The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Both these films have pretty much the best Disney sound scores of any movie, so that's why they get the best songs, because why not? Best music, I should say. Anyway, let's go to worst game. The worst game has gotta be Sonic Shuffle for the Dreamcast. This game, I feel like, is virtually unplayable. The party game mechanics are just so bad. Everything about it just doesn't make sense. How do you mess up making Mario Party clone when you already made Mario Party? Yeah, the people who made this game made Mario Party, and yet they've made the worst clone of Mario Party I ever saw in my life. It is bad, it's clunky, it's slow, minigames suck, the boards are terrible, the movement is awful, everything about it is just terrible. And that's why it gets the bottom of the list for video games. Nothing even compares to it. Nothing. On the exact opposite side, we have the best game, which is actually my all-time favorite game, Sonic Adventure 2. Good thing I reviewed it this time, because it was the clear winner. There's plenty of good games I reviewed, obviously, but nothing beats Sonic Adventure 2 for me, which is still one of my most favorite games of all time. I love it. I 100% it for a reason. And that was very hard to do, but I did it, and I loved it. Anyway, we are at the second to last category, the worst movie. Yes, worst movie is actually a 3-way tie between Spirited Untamed here, which I don't think I need to say, cheap TV animation, ruin a perfectly fine movie, terrible story, horrible script, horrible villains, just everything about it. It's just flat out bad and bland. It's just garbage. Another of the worst movies I've seen this year, that of the 3-way tie, is Ralph Breaks the Internet, which I just reviewed very recently. This movie is garbage, and you can go see more into detail why I think it's that way from my review. It's just oh god, is it terrible. And there is no Kruger people in the actual movie, but everything about the movie is terrible, and that's why it's also part of the three-way tie. Unsurprisingly, the worst film of the year is Megamind vs. the Doom Syndicate, which is the movie that's also the lowest rated movie on Letterboxd for this year, for obvious reasons. I feel like there's not a whole lot I can say more about this review. I reviewed it as soon as it came out because I knew it was going to get a lot of views, which it did, and then everyone else basically said the same thing. This movie is shit, but it's just a pilot to a shitty TV show. It's not even really the real sequel to the movie, so it's pretty easy to ignore. It just fucks up a movie sequel so bad that literally nothing about it works. It's kind of laughably bad how bad it is. Oh well, we still have the original Megamind to watch, I guess. And the best movie of the year, you probably saw this, not the best movie of this year, the best movie I reviewed this year is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which was one of the best movies I ever saw in my life. Like, why is this movie so good? I thought I was going to be going seeing the trailers, and then I saw the movie, like, holy shit, that was good. And it still is. Just thinking about this movie makes me want to watch it. That's how good the movie is. You can see more about why I like it so much in my review of it, which I think is pretty good. Overall, yeah, best movie that I've seen, and not the best movie of the year because it didn't come out this year. So what is the best movie I saw that came out this year? I haven't seen every movie that came out this year, though I might have to. The one that I like the most is going to be Beetlejuice, the sequel to the film that I like a lot, so of course I'm going to like its sequel, which I think does a pretty good job at capturing the magic of the first one, also doing its own thing. It's pretty great. I love it. It's good. It's probably not the best thing ever, but it's definitely my favorite of this year, and I recommend watching it if you think you're in the mood for it, because it is great. And that is my whole list. Yes, thank you for watching this video right through, and thank you for watching my channel, and if you've been one of those people who have joined me throughout the entire year and adventure, I hope that we can continue this journey in 2025, and I'll have more books out. Yeah, keep in mind, I make books on the side. My YouTube shorts, those are just drawings. Those are drawings for upcoming books, and they are black and white because I color them digitally. Alright, the one book I've been working on for a long time, because I do a page a day, and it's like 300 pages. That one will be coming out next year. I also have other books. Go check that out in my description. I hope you like what you see. And yeah, the description, I meant to say my channel, top links, you know what I mean. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let's go to 2025. Let's make sure it's a good one. Let's hope the country doesn't fall apart, because it might. But yeah, thank you for joining me, and I hope you stay with me. Bye-bye.